Glasses back
Hello, and thank you for tuning into the Stuff I Heard. I did this last week. Thank you for tuning
on. I
in to
was
the
gonna
Stuff I
lie.
Heard podcast. I heard you say glasses, and I started to say something about the
You got to
process of putting on
you
the.
need to what is it? You got to
Have a
record that.
pre-record.
Yes, and just loop that in every
No,
time.
listen, it's all messy. I'm better messy. Okay,
Okay.
listen. I don't think you realize it, but one of the things you like about me is that I am messy. I have a
Oh,
tendency to.
I'm glad to know that that's what I like.
I have the tendency to slide in at the last minute and just
It's
magically make things happen. Is that
make things happen.
Yeah, yeah. Isn't that one of my best selling points? He's like, I don't know, it works out. I don't know how it does. It just works out. So yeah, this is the Stuff I Heard podcast. Hi, I'm Josh. Have my wife LaNorris here with me today. And we just got done with a wonderful Thanksgiving get together with family that was super awesome. I hope
It's
everybody's
been
Thanksgiving
busy.
went well.
It's been a busy few days.
It has been
I
busy.
was off. I've been off since Wednesday. I was off Wednesday, and I just have gone wide open ever since. It seems like.
How have you been able to stay busy? I mean, because without work, what have you got to do? What could possibly be happening?
Well, I'm trying to buy all Christmas presents, get all Christmas done before we go on vacation. We
Oh,
leave next Sunday for vacation, and I'm trying to get all of that done because it will be easier to
yeah.
not have to deal with that when I come back. And I'm wrapping. It seems like I have wrapped Christmas presents until 10 o'clock every night since this whole week.
Yeah, if you're watching this on YouTube, you can see the
Explosion of Christmas
explosion of
present
stuff behind me.
of Christmas decorations. And
So
well,
last week we had a podcast where we talked about how many rolls of wrapping paper do you think you own? And I said, I'm going over 25. And you were like, yeah, that's fair. And then you actually did a count.
yeah, I stopped at close to 60. And that's not counting the double sided as 2 rolls.
There you go, folks.
Yeah.
If you're lucky,
Needless to say, there's no presents under our tree wrapped in the same paper.
well, that's a step up from my version of it. If you're lucky, you too can one day have 60 plus rolls of not toilet paper, wrapping paper for your Christmas presents. And listen, Tupperware makes these nice little things,
It's not
Rubbermaid,
Tupperware, yeah,
whatever,
Rubbermaid. It's a different brand.
makes these nice little vertical things that you can tote them around in. It's super helpful, and that does help.
Oh, look, I just noticed on the table, on the wrapping paper table, that some tissue paper came in.
Oh,
Yeah, I was out of white tissue paper to put in stuff.
oh,
Not tissue paper like toilet paper, but like for
tissue
wrapping.
paper like wrapping paper.
Yes, yes.
like
I
like
was
you
out.
stuff the bags with
Yes, I
and
don't
boxes.
use boxes. I don't use a whole lot of bags. To
Yeah.
me, that's like cheating on bows because the bows are what makes presents so pretty.
Well, I had this conversation at work this past week. Two ladies that I work with, we were talking about wrapping paper and how you and I had discussed the fact that you may have more than 25 rolls. And
Yeah.
and one of the girls was shaking her head, yes, the whole way. I went, yeah, 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 me too. And I was like, really? She goes, this year I went hog wild with Temu. She said, I started ordering wrapping paper on Temu. And she said, I got so much wrapping paper. And she goes, of course, not all of it is the sheets that you normally get when you buy rolls. She goes, but I got some really cool wrapping paper. And I've been wrapping stuff like crazy with this stuff because it was cheaper. And let's face it, the kids are going to tear through it. And I was like, okay.
Oh, yeah, most definitely. I mean, now I will say that wrapping paper and bows have been an obsession, I guess is what you call it, of mine for years. But it's also, you make the comment, and I thought about that the other night when I was standing back here in this room by myself, and I usually turn the TV on in here and listen to
Christmas
like
music.
Disney Christmas ambiance music
Mhm.
while I'm wrapping while I'm wrapping gifts. Thing of it is I am so, I don't know what the word is.
Obsessive.
I guess that's the word that it takes me forever. I come out of here the other night. I felt like I had spent hours back here, and I probably
You
had.
did. Yeah.
And I came out with what, four?
Yeah.
4 presents is all I had wrapped.
Yeah, but they looked perfect.
I mean, they better.
You and I both together had to wrap some large things
Yes.
recently. And it's difficult to wrap large things. And husbands, if you're out there listening, do help your wife once in a while to do that kind of stuff because it does help. I mean, some things you need more than just 2 hands on.
Yes, especially when you're trying to put a bow, get the bow in the exact. I use the
Yeah.
bows that aren't like stick-on bows. I don't use those.
The ribbon ones that you
I
pull.
use the ribbon ones that you pull, and then you have to tape the tail down, the long part of the ribbon, you have to tape it down, and you need to have it in the right spot so that the bow is strategically placed on the package so that it looks the best
The right spot.
under the tree.
Now there's 100 spots where it could be the wrong spot, but there's only one right
Yes,
spot.
right.
And sometimes it's up to artistic licensing as to what you think the right spot is, depending on if you're going with the diagonal look or the round the middle look. Or
But now I will say, and a lot of my friends that has known me for years and that I have given gifts to over the years, and definitely all of my family members, they know whenever gift opening is happening that I am the one going around grabbing up all the bows, because there's a lot of times, and that's one of the things I try to do whenever I wrap my presents, is I try to use the bows and the tape on the bows to hold them in place in a play. I tried hard to put that where I could reuse the bow if I'm able to grab the bow up and save it, because most people do not want. I've not found a whole lot of people who like to do that. On the other hand, it is my ultimate goal to see how many bows I can bring back that were originally mine and that I can reuse another year on a Christmas present.
Well, I think it's also your version of being green, conscientious of recycling. I get to recycle a bow. That's one less thing I got to buy next year.
You're just fancying it up. I am
fancying it up.
I'm just stingy, and I want to get as much money. I want to get as much use out of a $5 bow as I possibly can. If I'm
$5 bow.
No, I didn't say that. Sorry, wrong.
You did say that. You said $5 bow.
They're not quite that much.
Not all of them.
Not all of them.
Some of them are. Yeah. I know. I've been here. I've helped.
But now I do not use them if you can tell that they have been used before. So if you get a gift from me, don't try to inspect it to see if that bow's been used before, because if it's got the least little bit of crease in it, I'm throwing it away.
If their biggest worry is the bow, then they're missing the whole point.
Right. But
also there was love and care involved.
I want somebody to look at one of my a gift that I have wrapped and say, oh, it's too pretty to open. I mean,
yeah.
I could
see that.
I put just as much thought into the wrapping paper, bow, and name tag as I do the gift a lot of times. And I know that probably sounds odd to the average human, but let's face it, people, I'm not average.
So when I was younger, my dad for a while had this thing with his family of wrapping things as difficult as hard as possible for them to open, because they thought it was hilarious to have them open a bunch of things. And sometimes it'd be a box wrapped inside of a box.
Oh yeah, no, that would drive me
wrapped
crazy.
Inside and it'd be like at a certain point, it'd be like duct tape, wrapped around a thing. Or, and I'll come across this once in a while on like TikTok when their people are showing like crazy things that they've done, where sometimes they'll have a package done in a box with like screws, and they have to use a crowbar to pull it loose or something like that. I'm like, what is this so crazy?
I don't know. I don't get that. I do like to put items inside of a box just for what is the word I'm looking for?
Aesthetic.
Yeah, so that it wraps, so that I can wrap it and put a bow up. Here we are back to wrapping paper and bows. I mean,
well, it's also in that organized thing of your brain of going, at least it'll look perfect, and it will all the sides will be square, and it'll be just ooh.
So I will take an odd shaped item and put it inside of a box to make it easier to wrap. Now, with that being said, I made a comment not before last when you helped me wrap the two larger presents. They were like it's not that they're super big presents or very expensive presents. It's not that. It's the shape.
Yeah.
They were very large and thin type present items. I did make a comment, and I am going to do this. I want you to hold me to this year. When Christmas is over and the wrapping paper is going back up into the attic, I want to get rid of the boxes that I have managed to hoard up, because now that we get so much stuff online, I can just start saving boxes the closer it gets to Christmas. There's no reason to save them all year anymore.
I thought that we did a good job of that this year.
Well, we do keep them broken down flat.
Yeah. But so like, I remember like May, June-ish, I was like, hey, this is a decent box. You want to keep it? And you're like, nope, toss it. And then we actually went through and tossed a bunch of things.
I am getting better than that. Yes. And one of the things that I do, and I know people probably think she keeps boxes all year long. I do keep certain size boxes all year, but we do break them down flat. I have a area in the back closet. I actually have this room that we're in right now has a walk-in closet that is my wrapping paper closet.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I mean, we don't have any kids in the house, so instead of just keeping that closet empty, it's where I keep all of my wrapping paper and bows. So if I have to
It's
wrap
your Monica closet.
no, it's not. Well, it gets unorganized this time of the year because when it starts getting closer to wrapping, I throw boxes in there. So yes, right now you can actually see into it. 2 weeks ago, because I had been
Yeah.
hoarding up Christmas presents for the last 2 months, you couldn't even see in there.
For those of you who don't know what I'm talking about, on Friends, Monica is super, super organized, but she has one closet that is not. It is chaos, and whenever anybody opens the door, everything falls out, and she's like, "No!" It's like her hidden little storage area.
Now my wrapping paper closet does get like that
Yeah,
when it right
around
before
this time. Well,
yeah, until I start
2 weeks
wrapping.
ago.
Yes. Because when you start buying Christmas presents, you have to I have learned, put stuff that you buy early in one spot. If
Yeah,
not, you will forget where you put it.
yeah, and then you're in the attic, and you're like, "Oh, here's that thing I
Yes.
forgot to give."
Yes, most definitely.
Sorry. Yeah. Um. Okay.
But we had a great Thanksgiving with your family this year. We usually
Yeah.
alternate between going to Georgia to see my family and then staying here one year to see your family.
Yeah.
This year you were actually off.
We did one year. We were on a cruise ship.
Yes, we did. Or did we leave the day after
We
No, we
left
left the
Thanksgiving Day, or no, it was the day after.
yeah, we left the Friday after.
Yeah. But we had Thanksgiving at your mom's that Thursday, and then Friday we were on a cruise ship.
Yes, this year we
That was
actually
pretty nice.
remotely considered Mexico for
Yeah.
Thanksgiving Day.
Yep. To go visit Tammy.
Yes.
And listen,
Airfare was just extremely
they jacked up
outrageous.
the prices because they were like, haha, people are going to want to do this. And so we're going to make as much money as possible on them. So they price gouged everybody. And you and I are both like, nah, we're not going to do that.
Well, also too, we already had the vacation coming up on the second week of December.
Yeah.
Had it not been for that, we probably would be in Mexico right now because we could have taken off a couple days after Thanksgiving.
But if we were in Mexico, we couldn't have seen the Gamecocks beat Clemson yesterday.
Well, I'm sure we could have on television,
No,
but
they don't have television down there.
they have television in Mexico.
No, they don't. They're on the beach.
But
We saw
I'm sure
pictures.
you wouldn't have been
They're just
able
on the
to.
beach.
I was not here when they won, and you made a comment that you were actually up in front of the TV just
Yelling.
yelling.
I was loud. I was so loud that I heard myself echo off things, and I thought, "Oh, that was loud." So I did for a minute think, I wonder if my neighbors could hear me. Because I mean, we live in a neighborhood, but they're not like right on top of us, but I was pretty loud. I'm glad you weren't here.
Yeah, I don't think they could have heard
I'm
you.
glad we didn't have the grandkid here because they would have been like,
It would have scared him to death.
yeah, because I was pretty excited.
Yeah.
Listen, LaNorris Sellers is a special kind of talent, and we've got some special talent with right now. I'm excited. He's a freshman. We got a bunch of years of him playing with us, and it's going to be so much fun to watch them kick everybody's tail. And
it's about time.
This season ain't over because we're going to be extended play here since we defeated Clemson, and 2 of the top 10 teams fell to unranked teams. I mean, we're going to be in this discussion. I'm hoping that by Monday they say, okay, so here we go. South Carolina made their way in, and they're going to be playing so-and-so.
Made their way into what?
Into the college playoffs. This year they have a 12 team playoff, or 12 game playoff, excuse me. So the top 12, is it 12 game? 12 team, top 12 teams get to have a playoff system. And we are right there in that hunt because your number 2 team and your number whatever 9-6 team, the 6 team. Yeah, Miami lost and Ohio State lost. Ohio State lost to Michigan. Michigan wasn't even ranked. I mean, I get it. They're
Who
like
did
a
Miami
big rivalry.
lose to?
Syracuse.
Were they ranked?
No.
Ooh.
No. Syracuse is known as a basketball team, and they got their butts beat. And
why so many? Now I have noticed on social media, not that I watched any, I watched some football. I watched more football, I guess, on Friday than I did on yesterday. I stayed busy yesterday. But anyway, why so many? Yeah, games have been on every single day this week with the holiday.
Yeah.
Why so many? I know that yesterday was a lot of the in-state rivalries or the big rivalries.
Yeah, this is the last week of regular season play,
So
so a
that's
lot of your
when,
rivalry games are this week.
so I take it that
So like
Ohio
Georgia,
State, Michigan, that's not the same state, but are
no, but
they
they've always been one of those rivalry
okay?
teams because for a long time neither one had any other schools in the states. They were close by. They were like, I mean, that was the rivalry.
Because the other states is like Auburn, Alabama,
Yep,
which are both Alabama teams,
yep,
Georgia, Florida.
yep.
Well, no, no, I'm sorry, not Georgia, Florida.
No, Georgia, Georgia Tech,
Georgia Tech, and then it was
Florida, Florida
Florida
State,
State. Which
Clemson,
who
and South
won?
Carolina.
Yeah, who won the Florida State game?
Florida.
Okay, I mean,
I'm assuming I didn't.
I honestly I didn't even look to see who won that one. I know Florida State has not been
I would
having a good
not
year.
doubt that Florida won, but I just for sake of because this is stuff I heard, not stuff I know, but I'm gonna look anyway because somebody out there is gonna be like, well, actually, so and so
But now
won.
the one thing I seen the most on social media was the amount of fights
Yes.
that broke out. What?
Well,
Why? Why? What makes this year any different than the last game of the season? All these other years.
it's not that it made it different this year. It's just that now you have money involved. There's Florida won 31-11.
Oh,
Um,
ouch.
now you have money involved with the NIL, so a lot of kids are more conscious of their online presence. And at both of the games, there was extracurricular things happening. I think in their mind, they were like, I'm going to make a statement and have it on social media. So they were doing things that were problematic just to incite some kind of something for their social media presence because of the idea of if I get eyeballs on me, then that means I can get money for me and my school and ultimately
Yeah,
for
but don't
me.
they realize that negative social media
Yes.
is more detrimental than
Yes, but
no social media?
when you're 18, 19, 20, 21-year old young man, adrenaline and testosterone are ruling your life and there's no rationale. There is just action. So in one game, somebody took a flag of their team and wanted to drive it into the ground. This all started years ago. Baker Mayfield did this at a game when he played for Oklahoma. He took their flag and struck it into the middle of the ground on the logo of the other team, and it was like a kind of like a big fu to them. And so they fought, and then it became like a big social media thing where people talking about it. And now you get that happening where a team wins and they grab their flag and they go out to the middle of the planet in the ground and a fight breaks out because they're like, hey, don't do that. Like,
Well, I
but then it
mean,
becomes anger and aggression, and you've just been in a controlled aggression type environment for a football game for what 90 minutes. And now you're going to say, okay, and the game's over. Well, in their brain, they go, okay, now you want to fight? Okay, let's fight.
but why not have respect? I mean,
There
it
is no respect. You're taught to be angry, and you are angry. And when you're, like I said, 18, 19, 20 years old, there is no limits to how strong you think you are, especially when your whole job is to be strong and hurt the other team.
but now do you think that it has something to do with coaching?
No,
So are you
maybe,
okay? So
maybe part of it's coaching.
okay, so I didn't watch the game, but I did see the fight that broke out during the Alabama Auburn game.
Yeah.
And I did see on social media later, much late, later yesterday, that had that Nick Saban, you say what you want to, whether you liked him or disliked him, the man knew how to coach. He knows how to coach. Would that have happened had he been the head coach? I mean, I'm not going to say pushing and shoving didn't happen when he was there, but I don't remember seeing that kind of display of disrespect.
So it's hard to have discipline over young men, especially when they're making money. And
So, are you saying that money being brought into the college games is what's changing the college games?
partially, yes. In part of their mind, I'm
So, in other
sure.
words, is going to ruin the sport.
No, 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 because you can still control the chaos. Um,
Obviously, not if
if
you've
you
seen all the
have
fights that broke out yesterday.
if you have a coach strong enough, then they dictate what happens. They can calm everybody down and remove them from the situation like they need to. But you're talking 60 something people versus you. It's a little harder to do that. You have to do it in stages. It has to happen along the way. You have to control the chaos as much as possible. It's sort of like being in charge in the military. You have a bunch of young men that you teach them you're going to go out here and you're going to kill the enemy. Period. And you coaching is similar. You have that same kind of mentality. We're going out here, we're going to dominate, we're going to destroy those guys, blah, 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 blah. You get them all psyched up, you get them ready to run through brick walls for you. And then when it's over and the dust clears, you want them to calm down, but they're not done. They're still angry. They're still full of hatred. They're still full of energy in there. And sometimes they lash out. And can you control that? No. Does money have the biggest influence of that? No, not necessarily. I think they would have done it if they weren't getting paid anything. But for some of them, the instigation part of it is money driven because it is, hey, I want to have eyeballs on me. I know people are filming this. I'm going to stick this flag in the ground and somebody's going to record me doing it. And then I'm going to be a superstar one day and they're going to be like, oh, remember that time you did that? Because it's been shown as an example of something you can get away with. Now, if you want to control that, you have to control that at a coach's level. And you say, if you do something like this, you will be off the team or you will be suspended from playing. I'm not going to put up with any of this crap. I get the fact that you guys want to be, very important to the team and you want to show that you are dominant of them. Don't do this kind of crap because this ends up resulting in people getting hurt. This is people in your community. Even though they play for another team, this is people in your community. This happened long ago between South Carolina and Clemson back when Lou Holtz was the coach. And it created a lot of bad blood to where fights were breaking out every year that he was there. Now, after the game yesterday, South Carolina and Clemson players went up and congratulated each other.
I was going to say,
game.
no, I'm not going to say
like,
every
hey,
rivalry game ended in
listen,
a fight, but there was a lot of them yesterday.
A lot of that is coaching. A lot of that is, before the game, Coach Beamer and Coach Dabo just got together and they said, hey, we're friends, but today we're going to compete against each other. And they controlled the chaos. They made sure that happened. The coaches may be part of the problem in that scenario where they're fighting like that.
I mean, that's my first thoughts.
Yeah.
My first thoughts yesterday and
Saban would have been like that. Saban would have said, we're going to go out here, we're going to do our jobs. You guys, ultimately, your goal is to win. You're going to compete for 90 minutes, and then when it's over, it's over. We're going to go our separate ways, or 60 minutes, whatever it is. When it's over, that's cool. We hold our heads high. We act like we've been there before because we will be there again.
Yeah.
And
I mean, it's all about respect, in my opinion.
Sure.
It's strictly it is the respectful thing to do, regardless as to whether you're the winner or the loser. You should. I mean, I understand the whole getting hyped up. I get that. I mean, that happens. That happens in any sport. That's what you want. You have to have, in order to win or to be a successful team, whether you win or not. You have to have pride. I mean, you have to be passionate. You have to have pride.
You got to have something to care about. I mean, if you don't care, then it shows on the field and you don't win. I mean, you have to care.
I mean, I just remember looking up at the TV yesterday evening when they were maybe replaying
North Carolina versus North Carolina State. There was a huge fight. The cops had to break up with pepper spray. There was another one between Ohio State, Michigan. There was another one.
I just remember looking up and seeing them replay the one with Alabama, and there was an Alabama player that was acting like my first thought was like a 2-year-old.
Yeah,
he was literally and I don't care. I don't know what was said to him that got him to that point, but I mean, he was just throwing a pure, full blown temper tantrum.
And some of that may be due to extracurricular things, trying to give himself an advantage, like pre-workout and stuff like that. Just a bunch of caffeine and all ready to rock and roll. Listen, your brain is very malleable until you're 25 years old. You're not fully formed human, and things can affect you a lot of ways.
For males,
for both,
for males, mostly. We all know females develop and mature sooner.
Yes, their brains are developed sooner, but males.
I mean, I'm not going to say women wouldn't have acted like that, but I mean,
your frontal lobe is fully developed. So you'll see players who are older who don't participate in a lot of the chaos because they're like, hey, let's chill, just calm down.
I mean, well, I'm not going to say poor Alabama player because he was acting so childish.
He was part of the
and he was even all up in his own coach's faces.
Yeah.
They were trying to calm him down. And I was like, I mean, goodness, the first thing I thought of was like a 2-year-old who somebody had took away his pacifier and he was pitching a fit, having a meltdown right in the middle of the Walmart store. That's what he reminded me of.
It reminds me a lot of the Cowboys when I was young, watching them act silly after they would do anything. They would take over the whole TV of extracurricular stuff after the plays, which is why they made the post celebration thing a penalty if you did too much. They were like, listen, you can't do that. They also made taunting a penalty. They also made all this other stuff a penalty because you got to control it somehow. And if the coaches aren't going to do it, then the league has to figure out how they're going to police it. And of course, with these three incidents that we've just had, the league has got to have something where the NCAA has to somehow step up and say, we're going to take charge of this. And if you guys can't police yourselves, we're going to have penalties for you where if you have a fight or you're instigated in a fight or any kind of thing like that, maybe you don't get to play in the bowl game.
Well, I mean, the one thing I
Maybe
think
we
about is
suspend your
whenever
team.
total chaos, like what happened at the Ohio State game, when stuff like that happens, there's a lot of innocent bystanders
Yeah.
that get caught up in it that don't want to be caught up in it.
Or you get people standing on the sidelines that are instigators as well, which I saw a little bit of that too.
Probably, yeah.
Because they may be former alumni or they may just be the guy who's hyping up the group who can't seem to unhype himself. And he's just part of the problem, and it happens. But I guarantee you, if you affect them financially and you say, okay, you guys want to have a fight, neither one of you going to the bowl game. You penalize them like that, and you're going to see a lot of people straighten up really fast.
Well, yeah. I mean, I mean, and I don't understand, nor do I even want to go down that rabbit hole to try to understand how college players now make money. But finding them, hitting them in their pocketbook, like you said, whether it's through fines or through the ability to be able to participate in a game and that costs them money, that's the only way to calm it down.
Yep.
I mean, and as us,
if you made it a priority to stop those fights, you could do it.
I mean, and as people who pay extremely high amounts of money for tickets nowadays, I do not want to go to a game and watch it be sidetracked for 15 or 20 minutes to try to over a fight. I just don't. It's not worth it. That's when ticket sales will start to drop, is whenever people get fed up.
No, they won't.
What? Because some people want to go watch the fight.
Listen, we live in a day and age where Gladiator, the movie, has a sequel. Okay. The reason that was a thing was because people like to watch chaos. People like to watch people fight. UFC is a big thing because people enjoy that. They like the carnage. They like the fact that, oh wow, I can't believe humans are capable of this kind of thing. And when it gets nasty, there's a lot of people out there that's like, this is my favorite part. I mean, let's face it. If you go to a race, some people say that they don't enjoy the races unless there's wrecks. People like to watch chaos happen. I don't know what it is about them. As soon as I see that, all I can think of is being that young person and how does that change your life forever? If you're on either side of a fight, neither one wins. I've been in enough fights to know it doesn't work out for either person in the end. But it's hard to control that when you're full of testosterone and energy and being told by your coaches, kill them, go after them, do whatever, tear their heads off. Okay. But you watch the teams that are respectful and the coaches that are respectful of each other. And when it's over, they go and hey, listen, great game. That was tough, man. You guys gave us it all. I couldn't believe we actually pulled this off, or can't believe you pulled that off, or whatever it is. Okay. You're still going to be people in your community. You're still going to be adults at some point. And, if you make enemies now, what's it going to turn into later?
Yeah, true.
So you got to control that as much as possible. And the league could do more. The schools could do more. The coaches could do more. They could all do more. And they will. They'll have to. Because it's not, there's no point in that. There's no plus to this happening. I mean, okay, if we're going to be ugly about it, the plus is ratings. It will get more people watching. Is that a good thing? No, I don't think so.
Well, like I say, I don't know. I just know it seemed like yesterday was more fights than football.
Yeah.
Maybe that's the new Saturday slogan.
More fights than football. Yeah. Wasn't that part of the
watch this television, watch this broadcast? There's going to be more fights than football.
I think that was part of the slogan of the X game or the X football league. Whenever Jim McMahon tried to start one, because he owned the WWE, and then he tried to start a football league where they were going to fight also, and it was like this that turned ugly really fast because there were a lot of brain injuries. So anyway,
football's a dangerous enough sport as it is for people's physical health.
Yeah.
than to add fighting along with it.
I'm excited to see the performance of LaNorris Sellers and the Gamecocks, but more importantly, watching LaNorris in that position choose to make a lot of really responsible decisions and also being that next level talent, I think that is
Yeah.
just respected by everybody. I mean, Saturday morning, I heard every single person on Saturday morning game day talk about what a special player he is, and then watching him play looks like watching a video game character. And they're right.
I've never
And
met
every
him. I knew
interview,
him when he was a kid. I know his parents.
I
I
heard
know
him in
I worked with
interviews, and
his dad.
he was very
He's very
respectful.
respectful, which I like to
Yes,
say, I
ma'am. No,
worked with his
sir.
dad for quite some time, and his dad is a just salt of the earth, good guy,
Yeah,
very pleasant to be around, very respectful. And I'm sure that he, because I remember whenever his kids, because he's got three sons, LaNorris is the oldest, and actually the dad his name is Norris Sellers, and I can only imagine that. I remember the Pee Wee football games and things like that he would talk about at work with when his kids were younger, but it's he's been raised to be respectful,
yeah,
and you can definitely watch him in some of the endorsements that he has started doing, because now that's something that he can do. And even when he speaks, I mean, whenever they interview him, he's a very respectful young man. And I can only imagine that the two siblings that he's got coming up behind him, I know his brother is a senior this year at South Florence, which is where LaNorris went to school. And then they have a younger brother. There's three brothers that they're probably going to be the exact same way when they get into the limelight.
yeah. Yeah, and also, big shout out to Coach Beamer and his staff because he seems to maintain that same type of mentality with everybody. And I think Beamer does a weekly podcast with Sports Group where he talks about, developing these kids not only as players but as humans,
Yeah,
and
I mean, and
spending a lot of
well,
time with them.
everybody knows that that has watched any kind of football knows that uh, the Clemson coach Dabo
Dabo,
Sweeney has always had his team's respect.
yeah,
He's a very respectful person. I've listened to him many times do post game or pre game interviews, and he is a very respectful man.
yeah,
And it was nice to know that yesterday, with all of the chaos and fighting that broke out, that our state,
represented well.
they represented very well.
Yeah,
They played a very hard
and
game,
both teams,
and both teams were respectful.
because of the losses with Miami and with Ohio State, both teams have a legitimate argument to be in that competition at the end for the 12 team playoff.
Yeah.
So we could very well see them again. If it happens again, would they have a better plan for LaNorris? Who knows? Could LaNorris and Beamer, come up with another plan? Sure. I mean, it's exciting. Listen, I'm excited about college football. This is my favorite time of the year, and it's all coming to an end very soon. And I'm going to be sad until next college season. But man, it's been so much fun to watch this year because there's a lot of breakout talent that's really impressive. And man, for entertainment value, I'm so happy.
Yeah. Well, like I said, now I do know I went uptown yesterday. We had some plans yesterday morning, and I think we were scheduled to be somewhere at like I don't know 11:15 or so. And I remember telling you what time we needed to be there weeks ago, and your comment was, Carolina Clemson kickoff is at 12 o'clock, and I was like, oh, we'll be done before 12.
Yeah.
Famous last words. Did not work out that way. So thankfully, you were able to wait for what we were planning to do, and you were able to get the game on your.
You can talk about it.
Get your game. Well, we had pictures made with Santa.
We had pictures made with Carolina Moments.
Yes, but it was not
photographer.
Yes,
family member Amber does a great job as a local photographer, and she gets booked by a lot of people. If you guys are interested in doing some photo sessions, look up on Facebook Carolina Moments.
She is fantastic.
You're going to be amazed at what she can do. She's got a special talent. She's got an eyeball for how to take the perfect pictures.
But she does Santa pictures every year the weekend after Thanksgiving. I think she does Friday and Saturday. We booked these back in August because when she announces that she's doing this, they sell out really fast, and they're called mini sessions where you go and it's a quick few pictures and then done. The Santa is not your typical. It's not a mall Santa. What I call a mall Santa.
Beard.
No fake beard. This gentleman, he has got the natural white hair, beard. He looks like Santa Claus. And we had our picture made yesterday with our 7-month-old grandson.
And you can see pictures of him on Facebook if you
Yes,
go to Carolina Moments.
because she's been using the same gentleman for years. But
Yep.
we did that, and that took a little longer than we thought. But you were able to watch kickoff on your phone.
Mm-hmm.
But when we finished that, we came straight home because I
Yep.
promised you afterwards. I was like, no, I've got errands
And
to
you
run.
delivered.
You can go straight home. But I went uptown to do a little bit of shopping, and I was completely blown away with how dead town was. I was like, oh my gosh, this is not what in the world's going on. And I called you. I think I don't even know where I was headed. But anyway, I was right up around, for people that live here in Florence, I was right up around the Walmart, Sam's. I used that car wash that's right there on the corner across the street from the pharmacy, which everybody in town knows that's like the busiest pharmacy in Florence now.
One of the busiest corners in town.
Yes. And it was dead. I remember calling you saying, okay, where are all the people? Not that I was disappointed, but I was completely just shocked. And your comment was, they're all watching football. And I thought, no, doofus, not everybody in Florence is watching football. But we went back out. I shopped for a little while. I mean, I did several stores in the matter of just a couple of minutes. Got gas at Sam's, went in Sam's, got straight in, straight out. And I'm not going to say there weren't people out, but even the Zaxby's corner up there by Burger King, dead, dead. I mean, no, nothing.
And I said, they're watching
football. And I thought, no way,
yes,
not this.
ma'am.
So later, I did my shopping, come home. And then later, you and I got back out because we went across town to have dinner with family members. And God, the traffic was unreal. And I was like, are you freaking kidding me? This many people were sitting at home watching football.
Nobody around here around here they were like, all right, let's go get dinner and then let's find a place to be to watch Texas versus A&M, because I mean that is a decent game, but very few people, because in their mind we just watched the best game. That was the best
but
game.
Now the weather has turned cooler,
and I've got friends that are Clemson and Carolina alumni, and both of them on Facebook. This was the most respectful year, because they were all like, what a great game. That was so awesome, man. That was, holy cow, you couldn't ask for a better game. It wasn't like you suck and your mama sucks and your whole family sucks. It was very respectful from the fans.
Well, I mean,
they were like, wow, that LaNorris kid is something else, man. Listen, hats off to you guys. That was incredible.
Well, like I say, it's just been a long time since our state. I mean, I want to say Trevor Lawrence was the last time that this state has seen somebody, like that
level talent.
Yes. I mean, it's been a while.
Well, and before that, it was,
I mean, and not to mention that kid,
Connor Shaw.
Well, that kid was, the Trevor Lawrence. I mean,
Trevor Lawrence won a national championship,
and he was
twice
a very respectful young man.
He still is.
Yep. When you have people like him and like LaNorris Sellers, they actually change the team.
They elevate your culture.
They do. Yeah. They do. But I mean, and also the weather's turned a little bit cooler. I mean, we can kind of transition to the fact that it's got like burr cold in South Carolina. To me, this is the furthest north I've ever lived in my life. So when it dips down into the 40s, I'm freaking freezing.
Yeah.
And I think we're supposed to get to 21 degrees one day coming up here early morning. That is cold, people. That's cold.
Just be thankful you don't have an outside job.
I know. Be thankful that I get to park in the garage.
Yeah, there's that too.
Because that makes a big difference in the morning.
You know what? I may have to park the truck on the side and just take the Jeep, because it's in the garage.
Yeah, there's that. Yeah. But then you freeze your butt off on the way to work.
Defrost. Yeah, it's okay. I won't have to defrost for like 20 minutes.
Yeah, there's that.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's we've got a blast of cold weather that's coming this way, or is here now. That's supposed to last for several days, which is kind of unusual. I mean, normally our weather this time of the year is super pleasant.
There's a guy on YouTube. His name is Max Velocity, which is a great name for like a guy who's a weather guy.
Oh, that's
he's got a weather YouTube channel. I mean, it's just like, okay, fine. Still a great name.
It is.
He picked a great name, Max Velocity. He looks like he's maybe in his early 20s, and he's got that perfect weatherman voice where he's got the inlays of all of the stuff behind him, and he's just talking about today's weather. You got so and so coming in from the east, and I mean, he every single day he does a weather update, and he's been talking about this Arctic blast with this upper level river, and I was like, what is he talking about? Upper level river. and then you watch it happen. And you're like, oh,
Oh
that's what
yeah, it's
happened.
here.
Okay. And lake effect snow. We're going to see that with football today. There's a few games where there's going to be a lot of snow. I think the Bills are playing where they're expecting like 30 inches of snow.
Yeah. Of course, now I'm watching the Lake Buena Vista, Florida area weather because we're
Mm,
going there for not this. We've got what, one more week? I think we've got exactly 8 days until we go to Disney.
7.
Seven? Is
I'm
it
not
seven
counting.
days?
I'm not counting.
But I've been watching that weather closely because yeah, we've got 7 days.
How about that?
Wow. I want to. I'm just hoping that it's not too cold.
I know. You're the Goldilocks. You want it just right.
Yeah, I do.
Not too hot, not too cold, just right.
Yeah. Uh, so that's I'm hoping that it's in the 70s during the day. It right now it's a little chilly down there too, but I'm watching that just so we hopefully we'll have good weather.
I never read like the first version of Goldilocks, but I wonder if it's like a dad talking about how his daughter wanted things just right, and at the end the bears eat her. I wonder if that's how it.
No, no,
After they talked about someone's been sleeping in my bed.
no.
No, okay,
But anyway,
maybe
winter's here. I
winter's
guess
here.
winter's here.
Um,
But then again, I'm sure by Christmas we'll probably be back in the I
in
don't know what
shorts.
in the high 60s.
Yeah,
That's the way it is around in South Carolina.
yeah. Don't tuck the shorts away too soon,
No, or the flip flops.
or the flip flops. That's right. So anyway, well, I'm gonna wrap this up because I think we've done enough. How do you feel?
Okay. Yeah, I feel good.
Yeah. Got anything to promote?
To promote?
Yeah.
No, not really.
I
Be
just
respectful.
I just looked at you and I have a weird white hair growing on the outside of my nose.
Okay,
That's so
that's
weird.
something that everybody listening needs to know.
Why did you even mention that? That's so odd.
Be respectful, people. Be respectful.
Yep. Happy Thanksgiving, everybody. And thank you for listening. Please remember to rate, review, subscribe, and cue the cow.
Cue the cow. Moo, baby.